Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. We've got another cocktail video coming at you today. We've been exploring some Amaro based cocktails. We're going to continue to do that in this video. This cocktail is going to be the Amaro Sour, which is based on the whiskey sour. The whiskey sour goes back to at least the 1860s, 1870s. And a brandy sour, which is sort of its sister cocktail, is written in Jerry Thomas's famous Bartender's Guide, first printed cocktail book that we have today. So the Amaro Sour is basically just incorporating an Amaro into the whiskey sour, and there's a few different recipes that people can go with on this. The first thing about the sour cocktail, we're going to be using an egg white. I know that makes some people a little bit nervous, but I guarantee you when you make this cocktail with the egg white than without, you're going to notice a huge difference. If you are vegan, you can use aquafaba, which is basically the juice that comes out of fava beans. And I think you typically use a half an ounce, but I've not made one of those cocktails yet. It has the same foaming effect that an egg white does. And I'm told it actually doesn't affect the flavor at all. Now the thing with a sour cocktail or an Amaro sour cocktail is it's a pretty open recipe. You can use whatever Amaro you want, whatever bourbon you want in there. I've decided to go with Campari, which is a very, very bitter Amaro. And so to temper that, I've gone with a very sweet bourbon. Now typically what people are going to do is you're going to do about an ounce and a half of your Amaro to about 3/4 of an ounce of your bourbon. In this case, I'm going to rein that back in, and we're going to do about an ounce and a quarter of each. So it's going to be equal parts Amaro and bourbon. We've got our egg white, lemon juice, and simple syrup. I'm going to do the dry shake method. So dry shake method means that I'm going to put my egg white in with the cocktail, and I'm going to shake it with no ice. Then we're going to go ahead and put the ice in to get the chilling and the dilution. There are some people that prefer the reverse dry shake method. In that case, what you would do is you would put your ice in first, shake your cocktail, drain your ice out, and then do another shake with no ice to get the frothing effect of the egg white. Neither way is necessarily the best or worst. I think it's more preference based thing. So now that we know a little bit about this cocktail, let's go ahead and make it. Alright, so let's start making the cocktail. So as I've said previously, typically when you're making cocktails you want to start off with your least expensive ingredient and you work your way to your most expensive. So in this case we're going to start off with fresh squeezed lemon juice. Now for all sour cocktails, the ratio of your sour to your sweetness is really a matter of personal taste. I would prefer to have a cocktail a little bit more sour than I would sweet. So when I make this cocktail, I'm going to use about an ounce of lemon juice and about a half an ounce of simple syrup. A lot of people are going to be closer to 1/4 ounce of each. You could do an ounce of one, half an ounce of the other. It's really up to personal flavor. So we got an ounce of lemon juice in. We're now going to do a half an ounce of our simple syrup, and this is just a 1-to-1 water sugarcane syrup. Very, very easy to make. So now we're getting to our Amaro. Again, we're using Campari this time. So in this case, because of the recipe that I'm trying out, we're going to do just about an ounce and a quarter of Campari, and then an ounce and a quarter of our bourbon. In this case, like I said, I'm using Woodford Double Oaked. It's a real sweet, sort of desserty kind of bourbon. Last but not least, we've got our egg white. So you want to try to crack this in such a way that you get all your white. I'll set that aside. Now, some people will actually measure this out, and it's not wrong. I'm typically just going to toss one egg white in there. If you're making two, one egg white's probably going to be enough for 2 cocktails, but in my mind I'm not going to have one egg white or one half an egg white sitting around waiting for something. So we're going to go ahead and toss our egg white in. So now we're gonna do our dry shake. Now typically on a shaken cocktail, you really don't have to be worried about holding your Boston shakers together too much, because the coldness is going to keep them together. When you're doing a dry shake, that's not the case. So you do really want to get a good handle on these. Once you feel like you've got a good froth in there, and dump some ice into your shaker. Pour it back in. Give it a good pound. You want to shake it for a good, 15-20 seconds. Just to make sure you've got some good dilution and you've got a good froth. Now, since we put fresh lemon juice, in here, we're going to want to double strain that. Now the glass used, a lot of times this is called for a rocks glass. I prefer to use a sour glass. These in particular are Old Crow sour glasses from many years ago. Alright. Just double strain that right into your sour glass. Just get a great red color. Garnish that with a little lime twist. So go ahead and get your lime peel. And if you're feeling fancy, go ahead and flame that a little bit. We'll see if we can't get a little fire off this one. Express that over there. The glass, and just dump that on in. Here's your Amaro Sour. Let's taste that and see how it came out. That's really, really lovely. So the sweetness and the simple syrup and the bourbon are tamping down that bitterness in the Campari, but you're still getting the bitterness. The bitterness is more on the finish and kind of around the edges of your mouth. That's really, really good. The egg white brings in a really silky texture to the cocktail. This is why you really have to put that egg white in there. Again, you can try the aquafaba, and I've been told it works very, very well as well, but just doing this without the egg white, you're really going to lose out a lot. This is a really, really great cocktail. When you're making this also, you can mess with all of these proportions. If your cocktail's coming out a little bit too bitter, add a little bit less Campari or whatever your chosen Amaro is. If you're really into Amaros, add more. So that's our cocktail for the day. And if you have any questions or any comments, how do you like your Amaro Sour, or are there any other sour cocktails that you like? I'd appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe, and have a great day.